All women are different, but they are all women. This video is androcentric from a men's point of view and is presented as opinion, commentary, and debate. Expressing opinions is not violence. These are ideas to challenge, question, and argue in public, because classical liberalism relies on the First Amendment for its dialectic. If you are a feminist, then consider this. If patriarchy truly existed as claimed, feminism could not. And if all men are trash and women are equal to men, then what are we to conclude? Women will die for their children, men will die for their wives and children, and God chose to die for all mankind. Authority rolls up with responsibility. If this framing of facts offends you, click off to a cute cat video. Proceeding further will expose you to gamma bias and criticism directed at ideas, claims, institutions, not at any individual's virtue or dignity. Our method follows the 7 liberal arts. The trivium, grammar, logic, rhetoric, and the quadrivium, arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. And the transcendentals, the good, true, and beautiful. If this framework is not for you, feel free to exit now. It's no disgrace. Women are wonderful. God bless America. Men are great. Female self-loathing, Deny It, and Project It, written by Conrad Riker. Available now, links in description. Men are the fuel, not the fire. How feminized capitalism burns you alive while cheering the arsonist. You know the moment when the divorce papers land, the kids stop calling, and the bank account reads 0, not because you failed, but because the system was designed to erase you. I do. And so did Schopenhauer, who said the world is a stage where suffering is the only real actor. He wasn't wrong, but he didn't live to see the modern coup, a genocentric regime that worships female fragility while crucifying male resilience. Let's be blunt, 3.5 times more men than women kill themselves in the West, yet we're told toxic masculinity is the disease. Try that logic on a burning house. Instead of putting out the fire, they hand you a pamphlet on arson prevention. That's our world. Women lie in family court at cuckoldry rates exceeding 30% in some studies, yet we're expected to respect women. Police arrest fathers for custodial interference when they dare to see their children, but laugh off female stalkers as passionate. This isn't justice, it's ritual sacrifice. And capitalism, don't kid yourself. Mazadra and Nielsen revealed the truth. Labor is logistics. You're not a man. You're a replaceable node in a supply chain that discards you at 45, right when your daughter stops hugging you and your wife starts needing space. You lose your job, and the first thing they ask isn't how's your mental health, it's why aren't you fixed yet? Meanwhile, a woman posts a selfie with a rescued raccoon and gets hailed as a saint, even as she drains your savings in divorce court. Compassion for animals? Sure. Compassion for you? That's weakness. The left calls it equity. I call it war, and I didn't come to surrender. I came to rebuild on truth, on steel, on the forgotten canon of men who built civilizations, not TikTok brands. This isn't therapy, it's triage. The anatomy of male disposability, how feminized institutions gaslight men into silence. Men are disposable. That's not a conspiracy theory, it's policy. I learned this the hard way when my brother, a 47-year-old engineer with 2 kids and a mortgage, walked into the garage one Tuesday evening and didn't walk out. No note, no warning, just gone. The coroner called it death by hanging. The hospital handed my mother a pamphlet on recognizing depression in women. No one asked how a man who paid taxes, built things, served in the Navy, and never missed a child support payment became invisible in life and irrelevant in death. In the US, men kill themselves at 3.5 times the rate of women. In the UK, it's 3.2. Across the OECD, male suicide has spiked since 2000, while every TED Talk, every awareness campaign, every government-funded initiative is about her anxiety, her trauma, her burnout. Male pain isn't just ignored, it's designed to be ignored. The system treats men like faulty machinery. If it breaks, replace it. Don't ask why it failed. Don't investigate the design flaw. Just throw it out and boot up the next unit. Let's talk about the lie that kills. Women don't lie. It's not a hypothesis, it's a dogma, a sacred tenet of the woke church, as unassailable as transubstantiation. But here's the truth. 76% of false sexual assault allegations are dropped due to insufficient evidence. Not because they're false, mind you, but because even the state can't prove them. Yet the accuser walks away clean, while the accused is blacklisted, shamed, and often loses his job, his family, and his mind. I know a man, a teacher, who was accused by a student after he failed her for cheating. The school didn't investigate. They suspended him pending inquiry. The inquiry found nothing, but the damage was done. Parents protested his return. He quit. No apology, no restitution, just a quiet ruin. Meanwhile, the girl got a counseling session and a pat on the back for coming forward. That's the script. Women are always victims. Men are always suspects. And when you point that out, you're labeled a misogynist, because truth is now a hate crime. This isn't accidental. It's evolutionary. Women are reproductive capital. Men are labor units. Nature designed men to die so women could live. And leftist institutions, they don't fight this biology, they weaponize it. They call it equity, but it's just female supremacy with a diversity sticker. Feminism didn't liberate women, it enslaved men. It turned male protectiveness into a liability. It reframed male sacrifice as oppression. Now, when a man gets beaten by his wife, the cops laugh. I've seen it. A friend of mine, 6'2", 220 PLUs, former Marine, got his nose broken by his wife during an argument. He called the police. They showed up, saw her crying, and asked him to leave the house. She's the victim, they said. In the UK, only 5% of domestic violence funding goes to male victims, 5%. Meanwhile, there are over 500 shelters for battered women. How many for men? 2. And they're perpetually full. The message is clear. Men cannot be victims. If you bleed, it's because you deserved it. Capitalism, as Mazadra and Nielsen observed, treats labor as a logistical variable, optimize, replace, discard. That's exactly how gynocentric institutions treat men. Your suffering isn't a moral injury. It's administrative friction. You're not a person. You're a cost center. When a woman files a false harassment claim, HR doesn't care about truth. They care about risk mitigation. You get fired. She gets a settlement. And the company pats itself on the back for supporting survivors. I know a software developer, brilliant guy, who was accused of microaggressions after he corrected a coworker's code in a meeting. No investigation. No defense. Just a quiet exit. His reputation obliterated. Her promoted. That's not justice. That's tribalism with a compliance manual. So what do? You fight. You don't go quietly. You build a reputation defense protocol. If a woman slanders you, respond swiftly and publicly with facts. Silence is surrender. Record every interaction. Save every text. Document everything. Because in the court of public opinion, she has the default benefit of belief. You have to prove you're not a monster. I've seen men destroy their accusers in social media tribunals, posting screenshots, timelines, witness statements, and guess what? The mob turns, not because men are evil, but because lies unravel. But if you stay silent, you're guilty by default. The narrative wins. Truth loses. Here's the test. A man defends himself against a false accusation. He's abusive. A woman destroys a man's life with lies. She's brave. That asymmetry isn't random. It's engineered. It's the core operating principle of the modern woke state. Schopenhauer said compassion is the root of morality. But today, compassion is weaponized. It flows downward to women, minorities, victims, but never to men. Men are told to man up, to suck it up, to be strong. But when was the last time anyone showed you compassion? When was the last time you were allowed to be hurt, to grieve, to fail? Never, because you're not a person, you're a function. And when the function fails, you're discarded. The remedy? Reject the cult of female innocence. It's a fraud, a con. Women lie, women cheat, women destroy. The cuckoldry rate is 10 to 15%. That means 1 in 7 kids is not fathered by the man who thinks he is. And yet we still treat women as sacred. Family court is a joke. Fathers lose custody 80% of the time, even with no history of abuse. Men are arrested for commenting on a woman's appearance online. But a woman can abort her child at 8 months, and it's her body, her choice. That's not equality. That's matriarchy with a democracy mask. Adopt the Stoic axiom, truth before comfort. Stop defending women who attack you. Your loyalty is not to gender. It's to reality. The institutionalized dismissal of men's psychological victimization is not a glitch. It's the system. Schools teach boys they're toxic. Courts treat them as criminals. Media portrays them as failures. And when they break, we call it toxic masculinity. Never mind that no one is asking why. Never mind that no one is offering help. The testing if he will defend her reputation ritual. It's real. A man is expected to defend a woman. Any woman, even against truth, justice, or his own survival. Refuse, you're exiled. Comply, you're complicit. There is no winning unless you wake up. So wake up. Stop playing by their rules. Build your own tribe. Speak the truth. Defend yourself because no one else will. The system is not broken. It is working exactly as designed. And if you don't fight back, you will be another statistic, another invisible man, another suicide, another silent casualty in the war against masculinity. The red pill isn't about hate. It's about clarity. It's seeing the matrix for what it is. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you can't unsee it, you're free. I once believed empathy was universal, until I watched a woman sob over a wounded bird while calmly describing how she'd lie in court to secure full custody and half her husband's net worth. That moment cracked the facade. It wasn't compassion I was seeing, it was calculation, a performance polished for public consumption, while real human beings bled in silence. I realized then what we call female empathy is often just selective outrage, carefully directed, morally gated, and weaponized. And behind every viral post of a rescued puppy stands a ledger of broken men, never shown, never mourned. The compassion delusion, why kindness to animals is a smokescreen for female hypocrisy. I observed a woman sobbing over a tiny cat stuck in a tree while her former husband sat alone in a shelter, stripped of his home, his kids, and every shred of pride by the divorce she filed. She shared the cat rescue on Instagram with the words, "Love is action," but never posted a single image of the man she shattered. No mention of the $20,000 in legal fees she dumped on him while claiming full custody. Yet the cat, oh, the cat, was treated like something holy. This isn't compassion, this is performance. This is empathy laundering, a fresh kind of moral exchange where women show public sorrow for animals to erase the quiet harm they do to men. Let's look at the numbers, because facts are the acid that dissolves feminist propaganda. The Humane Society reports that 85% of animal hoarders are women. 85%. These are not saints. They're emotionally dysregulated women stacking cats like emotional Legos, building a fortress of fluff to hide their failure to function in adult human relationships. Meanwhile, men are pathologized for expressing anger, labeled toxic for defending themselves, and yet women can manipulate, lie, destroy families, and still be called sensitive because they once donated to PETA. You've seen the archetype, the crazy cat lady is a meme, a punchline, a celebrated eccentric. But the angry divorced dad, he's a monster in the making, a ticking time bomb according to feminist media. Never mind that he's angry because his wife committed adultery, emptied the joint accounts, and used the kids as psychological weapons. No, he's the one who needs therapy. Meanwhile, the woman who hoards 12 cats in a one-bedroom apartment and hasn't left the house in 3 years. She's quirky, she's passionate about animals, she's not being held accountable for her emotional parasitism. Go to any film festival and watch how Hollywood frames female violence. Jennifer's Body, a demonic cheerleader who lures and kills boys framed as a feminist revenge fantasy. Gone Girl, a woman who fakes her own murder to frame her husband, celebrated as brilliant, complex, a masterpiece of feminine rage, but show a man defending his property or children with equal ferocity, and he's a domestic abuser. The double standard isn't just obvious, it's engineered. Feminism has created a moral firewall where women are never fully responsible, no matter how destructive they become, as long as they perform compassion in the right places. And they do perform. They post about rescuing dogs. They wear vegan pins. They cry during animal shelter commercials. But behind closed doors, they lie under oath in family court. They file false domestic violence claims at 6 times the rate of men. According to the National Coalition for Men, they weaponize children, turning sons and daughters into informants against their fathers. They support no-fault divorce, alimony without accountability, and parental alienation, then turn around and claim moral superiority because they adopted a rescue cat. This is not compassion, this is moral arbitrage. Women exploit the human instinct to care for the vulnerable animals, children, minorities, to mask their exploitation of other vulnerable groups, men in family courts, male co-workers, falsely accused of harassment. Fathers denied access to their kids. They trade in emotional capital like stockbrokers, selling kindness to animals to buy immunity from criticism. It's a con, and men are the suckers. Schopenhauer saw this coming. On the basis of morality, he wrote that true compassion is universal. It does not discriminate by species, gender, or utility. But modern women practice a tribal compassion, boundless for creatures that cannot fight back, zero for men who have loved and supported them. Their empathy has a firewall. It stops at the border of male suffering. A woman will donate $50 to save a seal pup from ice melt, but won't return a $20 bill she found in her ex's glove compartment. That's not virtue. That's virtue signaling, a performance to avoid introspection. And the worst part? Men have been brainwashed to fall for it. We've been taught to observe if he's kind to animals as a dating test. But what about observe if she's fair in conflict? Observe if she keeps her word. Observe if she admits fault. No, instead we're told to watch how she pets a dog, as if that means she won't destroy your life in divorce court. It's a trap, a feminist Trojan horse. Because kindness to animals requires no accountability. Justice toward humans does. Test women differently. Ask, have you ever lied to get your way? Watch the micro-expressions. Ask, if you found a wallet with 1,000, would you return it? Then ask, would you return it if it belonged to your ex? The evasion will be telling. Women who claim moral high ground over animal rights but refuse to return lost property, falsify court documents, or manipulate children, they are not good, they are not kind, they are performers, and their stage is your life. The red pill is simple. Virtue is not measured by who you're nice to when it costs nothing. It's measured by who you're fair to when it costs everything. A man who rescues a dog but abandons his kids is not virtuous. A woman who hugs a kitten but lies to destroy her husband is not good. True morality is justice, not sentimentality, and justice has no gender. So the next time a woman tears up over a puppy video while ghosting her child support payments, remember, tears for animals are cheap. Integrity toward humans is rare. And the woman who refuses to show both? She's not your ally, she's your predator in sheep's clothing, and the sheep are just a costume. I once sat across from a woman at a coffee shop who spent 20 minutes detailing her emotional healing process. After losing her part-time job at a wellness boutique while posting selfies with captions like "the universe provides," and it struck me, no man would ever get away with that. Not in public, not in private, not in his own mind. A man doesn't process unemployment, he endures it or he perishes, and increasingly, he's perishing. The job loss litmus test, capitalism's hidden curriculum, and the death of male resilience. After the 2008 financial collapse, suicide rates for men jumped by 28%, while women's remained flat. That's not a coincidence. That's biology, culture, and truth colliding in the rawest form possible. I watched a man in my gym, a pipe fitter for 20 years, sit in his truck for 10 minutes after every workout, just staring at the steering wheel. One day he told me, "If I lose this job, I'm gone. My wife will remarry in 6 months. The kids won't miss me. I'm a walking utility." He wasn't being dramatic. He was reading the data. CDC reports confirm it. Middle-aged men are 8 times more likely to die by suicide after job loss than women. Why? Because men tie worth to function, women tie worth to feeling, and the system rewards the latter while punishing the former. When was the last time you saw a viral TikTok of a woman sobbing because she got laid off, only to post 3 days later about healing through crisples? Meanwhile, men are expected to be stoic, productive, silent. But here's the twist. This isn't about strength, it's about survival. And survival under late-stage capitalism isn't about grit. it's about logistics. Jordan Peterson once said, "Clean your room," sound advice. But let's be real, he didn't push it far enough. Tidying up your space won't shield you when your boss replaces you with someone cheaper or from overseas. What actually keeps you standing is knowing how many meals you've got stocked, the exact balance in your backup fund, and who picks up when you call in the middle of the night without hesitation. I've known guys who can recite entire books of philosophy, but can't build a simple app or patch a leaky roof. They're smart, sure, but helpless when the real world hits. I once faced a PhD in philosophy who told me that if he lost his job, he'd sit quietly and rethink his path. I told him, "Dude, peace and quiet won't stop the bank from taking your house. You need a plan, not a chant." He stared at me like I'd thrown cold water in his face. Good, that wake-up call was overdue. Let's talk numbers. 70% of men over 40 have less than 5,000 saved. 70%. Meanwhile, Instagram is flooded with boss babes in Bali sipping green juice, claiming they manifested a six-figure income by trusting the universe. One of them actually posted, "Money flows to me because I'm aligned with abundance." I checked her profile. She's 26, lives with her parents, and sells 17 PDFs on feminine energy wealth. And men are supposed to compete with that narrative. The system isn't rigged, it's designed. It rewards emotional performance in women and punishes logistical failure in men. When a woman fails, she gets a support group. When a man fails, he gets a no-call, no-show from HR and a LinkedIn post about new beginnings. But it doesn't have to be this way. I know a guy in Toledo, real name, Mark, who got laid off from a warehouse job in 2020. No degree, no connections. He sold his car, moved into an RV, and spent 6 months learning Python and AWS. He didn't cry. He didn't post about his trauma. He worked. A year later, he was hired remotely by a German fintech startup, making more than he ever did in Ohio. Last I heard, he bought a small cabin in Montana and streams coding tutorials on Twitch. That's not luck. That's praxis. That's the masculine response the West was built on. Not whining, not waiting for the state to save you. Action, the kind of action that made Rome, Athens, and Florence possible. The kind of action that built the transcontinental railroad while women were busy fainting at the sight of a laborer's calloused hands. Misadra and Nielsen wrote about borders as method, how capital controls people by creating zones of precarity, but they missed the gendered dimension. Men are expected to be borderless, infinitely adaptable, instantly replaceable. Women are granted emotional sovereignty. They can say, "I'm not in a good place right now," and get a pass. Try that as a man. "Sorry, boss, I'm emotionally compromised today. You'll be escorted out by security." The double standard isn't an oversight. It's policy. Feminized capitalism doesn't want resilient men. It wants compliant cogs who break quietly. And when they do break, it blames them, calls them lazy, depressed, toxic. Meanwhile, the real toxicity is the lie that men should wait for permission to survive. I've seen it 1,000 times. A man loses his job and his first call is to his wife. "What should I do?" That's not love. That's surrender. The wife might say, "We'll get through this," but deep down, she's calculating divorce costs, custody odds, and how fast she can rebrand herself as a single mom entrepreneur. The family court stats don't lie. 70% of custody cases go to mothers, regardless of fitness. And if you're a father who's unemployed, you're invisible. The system sees you as a liability. And the women, they're already 3 steps ahead, updating their dating profiles, joining empowerment retreats, and quietly draining joint accounts. I'm not being paranoid. I'm reading the data. The average American woman initiates 70% of divorces. And when she does, she often takes the kids, the house, and half your future earnings. That's not misfortune, that's strategy. So what's the answer? Not UBI, not lean in, not find your passion. The answer is the masculine resilience ladder. Step 1, have 6 months of expenses in cash, not stocks, not crypto, cash. Step 2, build a side income that doesn't rely on Uber or DoorDash, something real like coding, welding, or consulting. Step 3, cultivate a network of loyal men, not hustle buddies who ghost you when you're down, but brothers who will lend you a couch, a tool, or a gun if needed. Step 4. Train your mind like a Spartan. Read Epictetus. Practice cold showers. Stop outsourcing your psychology to therapists and TikTok coaches. Step 5. Have an exit plan, another country, a bug-out location, a second passport. Because loyalty to a nation that discards you is stupidity. Capitalism doesn't hate men, it hates weakness. And feminization, emotional dependency, performative vulnerability, financial illiteracy is weakness. The left knows this. That's why they push UBI to turn men into permanent wards of the state. Feminists know this too. That's why they preach marry rich and let him provide. Both ideologies aim to disarm men, to make them dependent, to erase the masculine spirit that built cities, cured diseases, and put men on the moon. I say, hell no. The logistical man, the one who plans, adapts, and acts, is the future. Not the weeping academic, the TikTok guru, or the divorced dad begging for visitation. The man who survives isn't the one who feels deeply. He's the one who prepares. And if you think that's cold, ask yourself, who's burying more men, war or divorce? I once believed the soft God too, the one who just wanted me to feel loved and be kind. I sat in church basements sipping lukewarm coffee, listening to men in cardigans say we just needed more empathy, more vulnerability, more listening. But empathy doesn't move mountains. Vulnerability doesn't part seas. And listening. I've listened long enough while my brothers vanished, while the culture war was lost in silence, while truth was traded for comfort. It wasn't until I stood alone in a cold garage at 5 a.m., lifting iron, reading Schopenhauer by flashlight, that I felt something ancient stir. Not emotion, not guilt, not shame, but recognition. The God I was raised with was a fraud. The real one was buried under centuries of feminine sentimentality, repackaged for women who wanted a divine teddy bear instead of a king. And if we're going to rebuild, we start by digging him up. The spiritual counter-revolution, reclaiming the transcendental from the woke Babylon. God is dead, Nietzsche wrote, and he wasn't wrong, but what he didn't say was who killed him. It was the committee, the diversity panel, the HR department, the woman crying in the Zoom meeting because her privilege made her uncomfortable. The real God, the one with thunder in his voice, fire in his eyes, and zero tolerance for weakness, wasn't killed by atheists. He was replaced. Downgraded, recast as a gender-fluid therapist with a latte and a trauma bond. And now men are spiritually homeless. 68% of young men say they feel abandoned, not by God, but by the institutions that were supposed to point them to Him. Churches, full of women and emotionally constipated men who think spiritual maturity means not swearing and liking acoustic worship music. The divine has been neutered, and when the divine becomes feminine, order collapses. The Old Testament God didn't ask for your feelings. He didn't care if you felt safe. He demanded obedience. He parted seas, drowned armies, and struck men dead for looking the wrong way at the ark. That God didn't apologize. He judged. And judgment is masculine. It's decisive. It separates wheat from chaff, strong from weak, true from false. That's why the left hates him. Because a man who bows to that God cannot be guilt-tripped into paying child support for a kid that isn't his. He won't kneel for a pronoun. He won't whisper scream, "I'm sorry" in diversity training while some 22-year-old intern with a nose ring tells him he's complicit in systemic oppression. The real God doesn't care about your feeling. He cares about your character, and character is forged in fire, not in a circle of affirmation. I observed a man taken into custody just for writing "men are stronger than women" on a social media post. No threats. No insults, simply stating a reality rooted in biology. At the same time, in courtrooms from coast to coast, fathers are denied access to their kids 8 out of 10 times, even when there's zero history of harm or irresponsibility, only because the legal framework presumes mothers are inherently superior caregivers. Let that settle. You can be a present, responsible dad, support your family, show up every single day, and still be seen as a threat. Yet if a mother walks out, files false claims, or harms her children, she's offered help, compassion, and legal shields to keep you away. This isn't fairness. This is a system built around female privilege, and it persists because today's Western world doesn't honor honesty. It honors the idea that women must always be protected. Andrew Tate didn't rise to global infamy because he hates women. He's targeted because he reveals the truth. He says aloud what countless awakened men already know deep down. Women deceive, exploit, weaponize emotion, and use institutions to gain power and money. He doesn't whisper it. He shouts it with flashy cars, bold confidence, and open defiance toward the moral police. That's why they're desperate to shut him down, because mockery destroys deception. You can't manipulate a man who's laughing. You can't break a man who's winning. Tate's videos aren't entertainment. They're battle cries, raw, blunt, fearless. Like a wrecking ball through the walls of weak, passive religion, he has flaws, but he gets results. Because he speaks reality in a culture that collapses at the sight of it. Disney used to make movies where heroes fought dragons, saved kingdoms, and married princesses. Now they make films where the princess saves herself, the prince is a bumbling idiot, and the real villain is patriarchy, frozen. A movie where two women save the world, men are comic relief, and love is redefined as sisterhood. This isn't entertainment. This is spiritual engineering. It's not an accident that every new kids movie features a strong female lead and a weak, absent, or evil male. It's a calculated assault on the masculine ideal. The transcendentals, good, true, beautiful, are under full-scale attack. Truth, white supremacy, beauty, Eurocentric, good, equity, which means giving women and minorities preferential treatment. The left doesn't want equality. They want inversion. They want the strong to serve the weak, the competent to subsidize the incompetent, the men to apologize for existing, and they've built a false religion to justify it. Original sin, it's maleness and whiteness. Redemption, confess your privilege. Salvation, submit to the party, the clergy, tenured professors, HR enforcers, diversity consultants, and the sacrament, public humiliation. We've seen it over and over. The man fired for a joke, the professor canceled for citing Plato, the father arrested for homeschooling his kids. This isn't progress, this is heresy, and the only cure is rebellion. I train every morning, not for aesthetics, not for Instagram. I train because strength is sacred. The Greeks knew it, the Romans knew it. The Spartans didn't send their boys to therapy. They sent them into the wilderness with a knife and told them to survive. Physical strength isn't vanity. It's spiritual discipline. It teaches you that suffering has value. That weakness is a choice. That pain is the price of growth. When you lift, you're not just building muscle, you're building will. And will is the core of manhood. Schopenhauer called it a will to live, a blind, driving force that pushes us forward. But he also said art and philosophy can free us from its chaos. Today, men must weaponize beauty to break the spell of ugliness. Listen to Beethoven, not Billie Eilish. Look at Michelangelo's David, not some TikTok influencer with lip fillers and a victim complex. Read Homer, not The Guardian. The West was built on craftsmanship, on the belief that beauty reflects divine order. When you see a Gothic cathedral, you don't think how pretty. You feel small, you feel awed. That's the point. Beauty should humble you. It should point you to something higher. But the woke don't want you humbled, they want you guilty. So they replace cathedrals with rainbow flags and the Iliad with pronoun drills. My remedy, build monasteries. Not literal ones, though I wouldn't hate it. I mean, male-only spaces, no women, no HR, no diversity training, no apologies, just truth training and transcendence. Weekly meetings with battle-tested brothers who've seen the lies, survived the courts, walked away from the cult of female perfection. We don't gather to complain, we gather to train. Physically, mentally, spiritually. We read the Western canon, Plato, Aristotle, Nietzsche, Epicurus, not to impress people, but to free ourselves, because knowledge is power, and power is the only thing the left fears. A man who knows he is made in the image of God cannot be broken. He can't be guilted into paying alimony for a wife who cheated. He can't be shamed into silence for noticing that 50% of marriages end in divorce. that 60% of abortions are performed on children fathered by men under 25, that women initiate 70% of breakups. He sees the pattern. He sees the design, and he refuses to play. The spiritual counter-revolution isn't about hate. It's about clarity. It's about reclaiming what was stolen. The truth, the beauty, the goodness, and building something real. Not for approval, not for love, but because it's right. I didn't wake up red-pilled. I got slapped awake by reality. While you were being told men have all the power, I was watching my brother get arrested for defending himself against a woman who threw boiling water on him after he'd paid child support for a kid that wasn't his. The DNA test came back. The courts didn't care. He lost his job, his home, his name. Meanwhile, the woman got a restraining order, a new boyfriend, and a viral TikTok about surviving abuse. That's not justice. That's ritual sacrifice on the altar of genocentrism. I used to think capitalism was the problem. Mazadra and Nielsen opened my eyes. Capitalism isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. It commodifies everything, including men. We're not workers. We're disposable infrastructure. And the left, they don't want to fix it. They want to expand the plantation just with pronouns and participation trophies. They preach equity while 93% of workplace deaths are men, while male suicide spikes with every recession, while schools medicate boys for being boys. They call that progress. I tested the kind to animals myth when my cousin, a nurse who volunteers at a shelter, took out a false domestic violence claim against her husband after she maxed out his credit cards and moved her boyfriend into their guest room. The police believed her. The court froze his assets. He had to sleep in his car. But hey, he kicked a dog once as a kid, so clearly he's the monster. She posts, "Adopt, don't shop every Tuesday." The system doesn't care about truth, it cares about narrative. And the narrative is, women are angels, men are liabilities. Even Schopenhauer, who saw compassion as the highest good, would vomit at this perversion. Compassion without justice is cruelty with a smile. And when I asked men what they'd do if they lost their job, most said, "I'd figure it out." Bullshit, you won't. Because you've been trained to outsource your survival, your wife, your parents, the government. But when the check bounces and the wife files for divorce, no one's coming. The only thing that saves men is preparation, not vibes. Not manifesting. Cold, hard cash skills. And brothers who won't ghost you when it gets real. So here's the truth they don't want you to know. You are not broken. You were betrayed. Betrayed by schools that pathologize your energy. By courts that auction your life to liars. By media that mocks your pain while weeping over cat videos. The female cuckolding rate. Studies suggest 10 to 30%, higher in high divorce demographics, but show that data, you're toxic. Meanwhile, they'll screen promising young women in college seminars like it's gospel. The abortion rate, over 60 million since Roe v. Wade, most under the age of 30. But don't you dare call it infanticide. You'll be canceled before you finish typing. This isn't feminism. This is feudalism with yoga pants, and the church silent.
The state complicit. The family
dead. But you are still breathing. That means you can fight. You can build, you can win. Start small, save 500. Learn to fix a car. Cut off the women who poison your peace. Meet real men, ones who've been burned. Not ones selling courses. You don't need permission. You never did. The red pill isn't a secret. It's a mirror. Look into it. See the man they tried to erase. Then walk the hell out of the matrix. And now the sponsored book, Introduction Female Self-Loathing. Deny it and project it. Ever feel like you're walking through a minefield blindfolded? That's modern manhood. I spent years confused. I'd state simple biological facts. Men and women are different, only to be called a bigot. I'd lead decisively at work, then get labeled domineering by colleagues pushing feminist training. I watched friends crushed in divorce courts, stripped of assets and children despite doing everything right. Something wasn't adding up. The constant male blame felt like a smokescreen. Then I saw the pattern. This book cuts through that fog. It exposes the core rot. Deep female self-hatred, denied daily, then projected outward as male toxicity. Women today are told they can have it all, while biology screams otherwise. That cognitive dissonance breeds resentment, and men catch the shrapnel. We're called oppressors for existing, toxic for protecting, weak for feeling. Feminism sold women a lie of victimhood and superiority, creating a generation miserable despite unprecedented privilege. They deny their nature, hate their discontent, and point fingers. Inside, you'll get unflinching truth. We dissect the projection playbook women use, how accusations of male aggression often mask their own unresolved rage. We dismantle feminist myths with hard evolutionary biology and psychology. Why equality is a physiological fantasy. How media and academia became propaganda arms. The legal system's anti-male bias. Why dating's a disaster and parenting's rigged against fathers. You'll see the double bind trap. Be strong and called toxic. Show vulnerability and get despised. There's no winning in their game. This is for rational men. Men tired of the lies. Men ready to see the raw mechanics behind the societal collapse. Men who won psychological armor, biological mastery, and red-pilled reality. We offer actionable insights, reclaiming leadership, navigating dating minefields, building heroic resistance, and reviving true masculinity. If you're content believing the narrative that men are broken, that masculinity is poison, put this down now. Go knit a sweater or binge woke TV. This book isn't for the brainwashed. But if you're ready to see the war, arm yourself, and reclaim your destiny, read on. Your sanity depends on it. Female Self-Loathing, Deny It, and Project It, written by Conrad Riker. Buy now. Links in description.